Who decides when an offender becomes an ex-offender?
I always thought it was when, when they've done the time and then they get back to normal life. But I think when they get back to normal life, that's when they've got that stigma attached to them. So I think you could argue on it's legally when they've done the time, but you've got to think socially as well when society have accepted them as, being a human, a normal citizen again.
How can we improve society's perception towards ex-offenders?
I mean, I think what we're seeing a lot of at the minute is like, offenders, people who have just left prison, etc., getting involved in community work, and I think that helps people. Sort of, it builds a bridge between offenders and non-offenders, and I think people see that at the end of the day, they've just made a mistake, and they're actually still probably, good moral people, and that's a good way of letting people sort of breaking down the wall. And sort of taking away the fear or the perception that they're not approachable. And I think it's it's already started happening. And continue. I think it's an improving situation as it is.
So who decides when an offender becomes an ex-offender?
I'd say straight after the offence of whatever the offender's committed, then he's actually an ex-offender because he's not committing that crime all the way through. He's being sentenced, he's probably spending time in jail. It don't mean he's still offending. He's probably classed as an ex-offender. But in the law's eyes, you're an ex-offender after you come off your license period. So that's, if I got sentenced to say 2 years, a year in jail, I still would come out and still would be an offender until the year after that, which would be my license ending. So I'd basically be an offender for the 2 years, which I'm not offending, but still classed as an offender.
So what you're saying is there's a difference between time and the legal perspective.
Yes, it is. Because I could do a crime out of the blue. All right, it might not have been what I wanted to do out of circumstances, but then I could have got over it within the week or two. But in the law's eyes, I'm not an ex-offender until I come off my license period. So that could be how many other years they want to put it as.
So when should society accept an ex-offender?
When they've been rehabilitated, and they've come back to the community and took part, working.
So when they're actively contributing to society?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Then we're ready to pick up.
When should we forgive offenders?
I think it's very relative. Regarding if they're still in jail, and if it's talk about forgiveness as in releasing them from jail, I think it could be quite a review system, looking at their behaviour in the jail system, looking at what privilege they've had, what they've done. If they're still committing, crimes in jail and still don't need to be forgiven, I think you should maybe not forgive them. But once they come out, they've done their time, and if they're shown through their records and their behaviour that they've started to change as more of a civil human being, then it should be forgiven. But it does need to be kind of more monitored. We can't just forget about prisoners who leave and just forget about them. I think there should be some sort of tab kind of kept and see how forgiveness there is. But regarding if it's a personal kind of thing, whether families should forgive, that's quite up to them. That's not really relevant depending on how they feel.
I think they should accept an ex-offender when they've proven that they're willing to try and integrate, to try and contribute back to society, to make amends for what they've done. I mean, doing time in prison is one thing, but trying to help out the community, to prove yourself, to regain that sort of respect, to want to do that is when we should accept them. I think not accepting people when they want to do this is one of the main causes of reoffending. I think that we really need to make an effort to accept these people as much as they're making an effort to be accepted.